Hello, and welcome to Stitching Across the Smokies. I'm Tanya, and I would like to invite you to join me in my little stitching neck of the woods today. I hope everybody's doing great today. My day has started out pretty good so far. I went walking. There's a river walk not too far from my house that I like to go walking if I have the opportunity. I get to see all the different critters and the ducks, geese, squirrels, the whole 9 yards. This morning I saw a few ducks, I saw a couple of geese, but I also saw a crane. I love seeing the cranes. They're very beautiful birds. But I will pop a picture up here of the one I saw this morning. It looked like he was fishing for a little bit of his breakfast. But when I get the opportunity, I do like to go walk, trying to build those healthy habits. But anyway, I thought I would hop on here and show you. I apologize, you can probably hear Benjamin outside meowing. He can hear me talking. But I thought I would hop on here and show you what little bit of stitching I've done this week, which is a little bit because it's only been 2 or 3 days since my WIP parade. But I'll show you what little bit of stitching I've been able to do up until today, and then I thought I would go over my plans for my stitching plans for next week. All right. So the first thing I'm going to show you is my one strand a day, and that is Maggie the Mess Maker. And this is the piece that every day before I do any other stitching, I pull it out and I put one strand into. And I have a couple of these projects that I rotate between. But I will do this one for a full month. And then I have the other piece, which is the Candy Cane Santa, which is also Dimensions Code Collection, that I will do for 2 months straight. And I rotate it that way. And they're both actually getting quite a bit of progress. I'm, very excited about the amount of progress I get from just one strand a day. But these are 2 of my oldest WIPs, so that's why I do it that way. But anyway, this is where I am on. Let me pull the side off the Q-snap. And these projects are still in the Q-snap because I'm still currently working on them. But here's my progress that I've made since you last saw it. And I'll pop a picture up here of what it looked like from the WIP parade. But since then, I have mostly been stitching up here in the window area, outside the window. And I have put in 253 stitches. And that brings me to a total of 11,307 stitches total. And it's at 21%. All right. Let me pop this back on before I forget. All right. So the next piece is Her Majesty, and it is a Haid. I will pop a picture up here of what it will look like when it's finished. I'm stitching it on, I'm not sure the count of the Ada, but it's either 18 or 20 count cream. I'll also pop a picture up here of what it looked like from my WIP parade. And since my WIP parade, I have been able to complete this diagonal. And I will be stitching on this again today because it hadn't had its full week yet. My rotation goes Monday through Sunday, so this one will be stitched on today. And I will go back up here and start on the next diagonal. So in the couple of days that I've had to stitch on it since the WIP parade, I put in 132 stitches, which isn't very much, but it's only been a couple of days and I had to work one of those days. That puts it at 8,714 stitches total, 4% done. And the last WIP that I've worked on since my WIP parade is 2 dancing peacocks. It is a Haid. It's based on artwork by Oleg Grarolev. I butcher that every time, and I'm going to continue to butcher it, and I apologize. But anyway, I'll pop a picture up here of what it will look like when it's complete. And this one's being stitched on 18 count Aida in the color cream. And then I will put a picture up of what it looked like when you saw it last, which was the WIP Parade. And here's where we are at. Now, this piece is the biggest piece I have, and it is the one that I'm using for my gridiron grind stitching. I almost completed this diagonal right here, and then of course I'll be moving up and coming back down this way. So actually, since yesterday was Saturday, this is when I stitched on it for the gridiron grind. And I put in 133 stitches last night, or yesterday while I was watching the game. The total stitches at this point are 15,834 stitches, and it's 3% complete. All right, so that's all I have worked on in the last 3 days. So for my plans till I film next, today I will be stitching on Her Majesty, give her one more day. And then starting next week, my plans will be to stitch on Maggie the Mistmaker, 1 strand a day. Then after I stitch this piece each day is when I pick up the next one. And so my focus piece for next week will be Kringles. This is by Little House Needleworks. I love this piece. And I'm not sure of the fabric that this one is on. But I will put a picture up here of what it looked like last when you saw it. I just realized, again, novice here, only 3rd video, that this looks exactly like it did when you last saw it, because I haven't stitched on it since the WIP Parade. My apologies. So anyway, this is where I will be starting from this week. And I will probably be focusing on the doorway down here. And hopefully, we'll see how close I can get to getting that middle section done. And that will just leave me the one square left on the other side to get it done. So, could get this completed before Christmas. We will see. All right. For Stitchopoly stitching this week, I only have 1 piece left from this last round I played that I need to do. However, I've decided that I'm not going to play another round once I get this done this week. I'm going to probably put some more work in on Kringles and the gridiron stitching and try to get that caught up, and I'll explain that in just a second when I get to it. But this is the piece I have stitches left that I need to do for Stitchopoly, and this is The Wizard by Joan Elliott. And I still need to put, or I need to put 200 stitches in on this. This is where I'm starting from. And I have been concentrating on this area here where you can see the threads in the way. I had completed his face, been working in his hair, and I've started on his hat. And so that's probably where I will continue stitching this week. I may go up there and stitch some of that border in as well. Just depends. I'll see how far I can get with 200 stitches. All right, so Monopoly or Stitchopoly, I'll wait and play another round next Monday. That's typically when I do it. So like I said, I can get some more stitches in on the gridiron grind. And I forgot to pull the postman out. Give me just a second. Sorry about that. Okay, I'm back. All right, so for the opposing team, I haven't stitched my stitches on it yet. Of course, we're just 2 games in, last week and then yesterday. But sorry about the zipper. But for the opposing teams, I'm stitching on the postman. Excuse me. By Cottage Garden Samplings. Because I feel like this piece, it's not Pattern Keeper, but I feel like this piece is the one I have closest to finish, so I thought I would use those pieces for the opposing teams. So for this piece, I need, from the last game and then yesterday, I need 215 stitches. That will get me quite a ways on this one. But this is where we'll be starting from. I'll probably work some more in his body here. I'll probably leave the mailboxes and the bird for last. So I will concentrate on his body because that's where the majority of the stitches is in. So I need 215 stitches for this one, and then it'll be ready for the next game. I believe there's one next week. Right? And then the one I use for UT, or the balls, is 2 peacocks. And so like I said, I will finish this diagonal and then come back up here and start a new one. When I was deciding how I wanted to do my version of Gridiron Grind, which was something Kim Hollenbeck came up with and started a challenge, I decided, and I'm not sure exactly how she's doing hers to determine the number of stitches, but I decided I would do on UT Vols, since they were the team I'm following, I would do 10 stitches per point. However, when I decided that, I did not realize that the first 2 teams they play were going to be small schools. And so they've scored a lot of points the last 2 games. In fact, yesterday was the most, apparently, points that they've scored in the history of the program. And that was 72 points. So by the time I multiplied that times 10 and then add 50 because they won, that's 770 stitches I need on this one just for yesterday. And I'm still behind from the previous week where they got 45 points. And so that was 500 stitches I needed. So between the two, I need to do 1,064 stitches on this to get it caught up. And I may end up changing the 10 points, or excuse me, the 10 stitches per point, depending on how far behind I get I would like to keep it like it is and just keep going in that way. Once the regular season is over, I will still have, you know, if assuming that I don't get this caught up by then, I will still have, you know, some stitches to put into it. Because I really want to get a lot of progress in this since it's my biggest and one of my oldest WIPs. All right. So this video is going to be kind of short and sweet, but I just wanted to hop on here and do this. Tell you about what little I got done and what I plan on doing. I am thinking about maybe doing some Stitch With Me videos. I'm not sure. If you like that sort of thing, let me know. I know I enjoy them, especially if the house is quiet and I really want to focus on a piece and get a lot of stitches in. I will turn one of those on, you know, and I'll glance over and watch it every once in a while, but I like seeing their progress while I'm making progress. Because a lot of times I find if I find something I want to watch on TV, sometimes I get pulled into it and I sit there watching TV more than I am stitching, which can also cause me to make counting errors sometimes, but you know, that's part of it. But if anyone would be interested in that, please let me know. I'm also trying to decide if when I do a stitch with me, if I want to maybe talk during it. Not sure what I'd talk about, but talk during it, or maybe just have some music playing. I also like the sounds on some people do their stitch with me's, and it's just the sound of the thread and the needle going in and out of the fabric, and I enjoy those as well. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I would greatly appreciate it. Before I go, I want to thank everyone who has liked and subscribed to my channel. This is just my third video, and I mean, I am so grateful for everyone that has done that. I would also like to thank both of my children, Jessica and Diego, for encouraging me to get on here and start a channel. I wouldn't have done it if they hadn't encouraged me. So, let's see, what else did I want to say? I think that's it. So hopefully this wasn't too choppy. I feel like it's been very choppy today, and I apologize if it is. But if you're new here and you enjoyed what you've seen and listening to me ramble, please like and subscribe. And everyone coming back that has subscribed, thank you for coming back. And I hope you still enjoy what you saw. And hopefully we'll continue to see in the future going forward. So with that, I'm going to say I hope everyone has a great week. Always take some time for yourself, get some stitching in, and I'll see you next time.